Parents with kids who are picky eaters sometimes have to be stealthy and sneak in nutrients, and there is absolutely no shame in that. Dietitian nutritionist Meridan Zerner, who's also a mom, knows what I'm talking about. She's come up with some great ideas for doing this. Hi, Meridan. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. And you know, it's hard to be a mom. It's hard to be a busy working parent. And we know that we need to get in these amazing fruits and vegetables, these deep, rich greens and reds and oranges, but it's also really hard.
It is, because you don't find that kids like the kale or some of the other stuff, or just the sound of the word sometimes turns them off. So give us a couple of ideas.
Well, and recognizing too that our kids are super tasters, right? And so they're experiencing that kale and that broccoli, the asparagus in a different way than we are now, in that we've lost about 50% of our taste buds. And so the intent is less. So I'm always looking at creative ways to not only continue to model that I'm eating these foods, but hey, maybe we can saute the broccoli, maybe we add some cheese, maybe I'll take the spinach and I'll put that into a smoothie. Maybe I use a greens powder in a smoothie, which is one of my favorite ways to get it in. I take a nice greens powder, I put in some banana for added potassium. Maybe I'm using almond milk to pump up the calcium and the vitamin D that they so desperately need. And they're getting this chocolate shake, but as a mom and as a dietitian, I know they're getting some powerhouse concentrated nutrition. And oh, by the way, if you end up with extra, this makes a phenomenal freeze as a popsicle.
That's incredible. I didn't know that about the taste buds. That's a really interesting point. I know that you also have created a guacamole that you think kids will love, right?
Yes, and most kids like to dip. And so, you know, if they won't eat a dry carrot, they may dip it in ranch. But of course, I'm going to suggest, why don't we give them some guacamole? We know that the avocado is a phenomenal source of fiber and other nutrients, vitamin C. And you could dip a whole grain cracker. I've got the carrots here. Again, to kind of pump it up, you can make this recipe fresh and add in any of the foods, fruits and vegetables that your family likes. I love to really tailor it to your personal family's tastes. But again, I used a greens powder here because a greens powder can give them a little bit of wheatgrass, barley grass. I know they're not eating that. Just on it. But mixed into this amazing flavorful guac, you're just not going to even notice it. And so now I've got all of these bonus phytonutrients.
Where do you buy greens powder?
No, honestly, it's going to be at any of the health food stores in your area, certainly online, you know, the Amazons of the world. You can always get a quality greens powder. I would encourage you, as I would anybody, to read the label, because you're really looking for a high quality product that doesn't have any artificial colors, no added sugars, very simple ingredient profile. And so I always encourage folks to be label readers pretty much on anything.
Right.
So you can get the most you're buying and eating.
All right, last but not least, I know you have a recipe for nut butter green bites. Tell us about that one.
So my kids love a good dessert. And I've got two kids that are sporty and athletic, and I want some high energy, but I want quality food. So instead of giving them some kind of just generic breakfast bar, I will whip up, this is a no-bake ball. And so literally it's kind of a dump in the bowl. It's got some dates, which you can just buy at the grocery store. It's got some almond butter or any nut butter of choice. I put in a greens powder here, a little bit of protein powder. So these taste like a dessert, but they were really, really easy. It took me about 5 minutes to make, and you can roll them in coconut or add any additional flair. It's amazing when you add a chocolate chip to anything, how the greens go down, right?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of combining avocado with chocolate. It's really good, and that looks great. Okay, lastly, in the last couple of seconds, please remind us why this is good for our kids and why we as parents should not neglect this responsibility to make sure they get these nutrients.
So honestly, the CDC right now is going to say, hey, only 10% of Americans, including our children, are getting in enough fruits and vegetables. And we've seen, even with the pandemic, how our immune system is so critical and so important. And really getting back to just reminding folks that getting more fruits and vegetables in is where it's at when we think about overall health and well-being and energy. And sometimes we just need that gentle nudge, the reminder, and maybe some creative solutions or recipes to help us get that job done quickly.
Well, thank you for giving us both the nudge and the creative recipes. Meridan Zerner, thank you so much. And we will post all 3 recipes on our website, which is daytimeonline.tv. We'll be right back.